So here's another question from Quora. Will the trademark examiner check unregistered trademarks? I'm Andrei Answer, the founder of Trademark Factory, and here's my answer to this question. So when you file your trademark application, the trademark examiner will look at it several months after you file it. And what they're going to look at is all trademark applications and registrations that have entered the trademark office's system. So they're going to look at trademarks that have just been filed, the formalized trademarks, approved trademarks, trademarks that have received an office action. They look at trademarks that have been allowed, that have been opposed. They're going to look at trademarks that have been registered. So they're going to look at all trademarks that are part of the trademark office's system, regardless of where in the process those applications are. But they're not going to look at trademarks that have never been filed for as part of the trademarks office's system. So if your question was, are they only looking at trademarks that are already registered? Then the answer is no. They're also going to look at trademarks that have been filed. So if, for example, somebody files for the same trademark as you're trying to file, and they filed, the same trademark a few days before you did, the trademark examiner is going to look for that trademark. They're going to find that trademark, and they're going to cite that previously filed trademark application as in an office action that you're going to receive for your trademark application. But if your question is, are they going to look outside of the trademarks office system? Then the answer is no, they're not. They don't care about brands that brand owners never bothered to even try registering. Oh, here's another question from Quora. Can an app be trademark protected? It really depends what you're asking. If you're hoping to secure the app itself, then the trademark is not the right vehicle to do it. Trademarks are not going to allow you to stop others from copying the app, copying the idea of the app, copying the technology used in the app, copying what the app does, copying the features, the benefits of the app. None of that you could protect with a trademark. What you could protect with a trademark is the name of the app, is the logo for the app, the icon, the taglines you may use there, or character, something like that. So something that goes to the identity that you can trademark. And for example, if you want to make sure that, let's say it's an Apple app, right? So if you want to, let's say it's an iOS app, right? So if you want to make sure that nobody has an app with a similar name in the App Store, that's what trademark can allow you to accomplish. But like I said, it won't let you stop others from creating apps that do pretty much the same thing with a completely different name. So here's another question from Quora. Can a trademark be registered to an individual? This is very country specific. In most countries, the answer is yes, you can. You can trademark your brand in the name of your company, in the name of an individual. It really doesn't matter for most countries. But in some countries, it could actually be an issue because they require you to have some sort of an entity or a license to be an entrepreneur. So it's not enough for you to be an individual. You have to have a license of an entrepreneur. And I remember there was actually an issue for me when I was protecting the brand Trademark Factory. So I was thinking, how can I file an international trademark application? That was before Canada joined Madrid system. So I was thinking, is there a way for me to file a Madrid application for Trademark Factory? And so I couldn't do it as a Canadian company because Canada was not part of Madrid. So I was thinking, okay, can I do it as a Russian citizen, which I still have my dual citizenship? And I thought, if I could file as Andrei Minkov, as a Russian citizen, because Russia is part of Madrid and was, so could I do that? And it turned out that in Russia you had to have this license, and you have to pay the taxes, you have to pay the, and that was so complex. It didn't really make a lot of sense for me at that time. And so what we decided to do is to just file for Trademark Factory in individual countries where it mattered, so it didn't work out because, again, I couldn't use Russia as an individual, but I know it's an exception. So in most countries, short answer to your question, in most countries, yes, you can file a trademark as an individual, but there may be some subtleties depending on the country where you're filing. I hope you found this useful. And by the way, if you are planning to trademark your brand in a particular country and you're not sure if you could file as an individual there, you're welcome to email us at Trademark Factory, tm@trademarkfactory.com. We're going to have a look at that and see if we can help you with that. So here's a question from Cora. Can I trademark a generic word? It really depends. Yes, you can trademark a generic word as long as you're not trying to trademark a generic word for the product or the service that this generic word signifies. So for example, Apple, the phone company, trademarked one of the most generic words in the English language, Apple. But they were able to do this because they don't sell apples. What they do has nothing to do with the fruit. So that's why you could trademark a generic word as long as that generic word has nothing to do with your products and services. But if they were trying to trademark the word apple while trying to sell apples, that would not have worked. That would have been a generic trademark, and generic trademarks cannot be registered because the whole point of trademarks is to let people tell your products and services apart from everybody else's. So if the brand you came up with does not have the capacity of allowing the market to tell your products and services from everybody else's, then you can't use that brand as a trademark. That's why you can't have generic trademarks. But for, again, just going back to Apple, nobody would think that they're getting an apple, like a real apple, from the phone company or a computer company or software company. And that's how they remember that Apple is Apple and not something else. So when you're asking, can you trademark generic words, always clarify, is it for the same thing as the word means or not? Here's another question from Quora. Do bands trademark their names? Short answer is yes, they do. As soon as you realize that your band has potential, commercial potential, that people actually like your music, that you want to be known under this name to a lot of people, and you're expecting that to be something that people will notice, you want to treat it like a business and not as a hobby, then yes, you want to protect that brand name, that band name, as a brand name, as a trademark early on. And you will notice that there's a lot of disputes between former members and current members of big bands that have become popular maybe in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s, and now they're fighting over the band names as to who can use them, right? Some members leave, some members join, and there's always this fight about who owns the name. And if you properly trademark the name, and if you have a proper contract between band members as to who owns what, let's say in the corporation that runs the band, or if there's a partnership agreement, or whatever the arrangement is between band members, you want to be very clear as to who has the right to the name. especially who has the right to the name if one of the band members leaves. Let's say, what if the vocalist leaves, right? Can the vocalist keep using the same name and say, well, I'm the former voice of this name? Or can they just create a new band, hire a new guitarist, a new drummer, a new bass player, and start the same band with the same name, right? So all of these things are extremely important. They may not be important if you're, just playing for fun. Once a week you've got a couple of friends and you're playing and nobody really cares about your brand. Nobody cares about your band. And it's just a fun thing. Then of course, don't trademark it. But as soon as you see commercial potential in it, you gotta do this. You owe it to your band. You owe it to your fans, because same idea, right? You don't only do it for yourself, you also do it for your customers, for your fans, for people who want to make sure that if they go and buy your record, or people who go and buy tickets to see you, you want to make sure they're actually seeing your band and not somebody else using the same name as you did. Here's a great question from Quora. How exactly does a trademark protect your brand? So what a trademark does, it gives you the legal right to stop anybody from using the same or similar brand in association with the same or similar products and services. You can take your trademark registration certificate to court, and that piece of paper will be treated as the presumption that you own this trademark and that it's valid. And you would be able to say, these guys, the defendant, the bad person, the defendant stole my brand. They're using a same or the similar brand to sell the same or similar product or services, and the defendant would have a very hard time proving that they don't. Because at this point, once you have your trademark registration certificate, they will have to prove that either they're using a different brand, or it's for different products and services, or that have to challenge your trademark by proving that you were not supposed to have gotten your trademark. And that's a difficult thing to prove. So that's what it does. But again, notice that I said that it gives you the legal right to do this. By itself, trademarks don't do anything. You have to enforce them. So when you've got your trademark registration certificate, if you see that somebody's infringing on your mark, and it's not going to automatically, make those infringements vanish. As much as I'd love it to be so, that's not how it works. Usually what you do is you would either send them a letter and say, hey, this is our brand. Stop stealing it. Stop doing all those bad things we don't want you to do. Instead, do this, and this. And often they will comply because they will see that you've got the right, and they will know that if you were to take them to court, they would lose. Or sometimes you would write that letter or fill out an infringement form on a platform, like for example, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram, whatever, right? If somebody's infringing your mark through those platforms, most of those platforms have forms where you can submit an infringement request and say, these guys are infringing on my registered trademark. And those platforms would usually take the infringing content down pretty quickly. Now, if that doesn't work, if the letter that you sent didn't work, or if YouTube didn't take this down, then your next step is to go to court and file a lawsuit there. And yes, you have to fight, and yes, you have to have some additional expenses protecting your brand. But look, if it's worth your time protecting, then it's probably worth your time and money enforcing that protection. So I look at trademarks as ammunition, right? It gives you the ammunition to go after somebody who you think is taking a free ride on your brand, who's taking a free ride on your reputation, who's taking a free ride on what you've built, on that goodwill. And you don't have to do it against every single person who infringes, but you do have to take action if you see that it's becoming a concern. So, like I said, to summarize, is how exactly does trademark protect your brand? It gives you the opportunity to have a piece of paper that you can show to the judge. In the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. You can show this to the judge and say, this proves that this is my brand, and this other person, they don't have the right to use it. I never gave them a license. I never gave them permission to use my brand. So what they did is illegal, and I want them to stop doing this right away. And on top of that, I want them to pay me a lot of money. And that's what your trademark registration would do. That's what your trademark registration would accomplish. Now, I hope this answers your question. If it doesn't, make sure you comment below so I shoot a follow-up video. And by the way, if you have any other questions that I haven't answered before, post a comment below and I'll answer your question in video just like this one. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. And until then, I'll see you in the next video.